Fabian Falcons. Today I'm going to continue on our journey of reading the 20 monarch nominees. We started reading some of the monarchs before we left for quarantine, and now I thought it would be a good idea to finish reading some of these books so we can go ahead and take a vote on our most favorite. Here is a list, some pictures of the 20 nominees that you have either read by yourselves, read in the library with me, or perhaps in the classroom with your teachers. Okay. So the story that I'm going to read to you today, it's called Saving Fiona. And this is a really sweet story of Fiona, this baby hippopotamus who was born in the Cincinnati Zoo prematurely. So while yes, we have had experience with, zoos have had experience with giving, with hippopotamuses giving birth to babies, but the problem here is that Fiona was born prematurely. So the zoologists and the experts at Cincinnati Zoo were unfamiliar with how to take care of baby Fiona as a premature hippopotamus. So the story is written by Thane Maynard, and Thane Maynard is actually the director of Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Gardens. So this really is his first-hand look of from start to finish of how Cincinnati Zoo and all of their team, how they were able to save Fiona and help her survive and allow her to go back, to live the rest of her life out in the zoo with her mom and dad. So it's a true story, and you'll see all kinds of the book is just loaded with all kinds of really special real pictures, so you'll have a lot of fun listening to this story, Saving Fiona, the story of the world's most famous baby hippo. So you may remember that I shared the video. There was a video of everything that the team of specialists had to do to save her life, because this was highly promoted on all types of social media. So and the hashtag is hashtag Team Fiona, hashtag love for Fiona, and things like that. So Saving Fiona, the story of the world's most famous baby hippo by Thane Maynard. This book is dedicated to all the members of hashtag Team Fiona who worked tirelessly to save baby Fiona. You showed the world the incredible commitment, teamwork, and tenacity it takes to give animals the care they deserve. And those are all the people who took time to help baby Fiona survive. And there she is. This is Fiona. She is a baby hippopotamus, but not just any baby hippopotamus. She is the first premature hippopotamus to be raised by humans. She is a survivor, and this is her story. There had not been hippos at the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden for 20 years. People really love hippos. Their big, round bodies and storybook appeal made them the most requested animal at the zoo. When the zoo planned to build a new African animal habitat, making a space for the hippos was top priority. One thing hippos need is water. Lots and lots of water. The water in the 70,000-gallon hippo pool in Hippo Cove is 100% rainwater, collected and saved every time it rains in Cincinnati. To keep the water clear so visitors are always able to see the hippos from all sides, the zoo makes use of the biggest pool filter in town. The first residents of Hippo Cove were 17-year-old Beebe and 34-year-old Henry. They arrived in 2016. Beebe had only lived with female hippopotamuses, and Henry was the first male hippo she had ever seen. Henry had lived with many hippos, male and female. He had even fathered some babies. Everyone hoped that Beebe and Henry would get along and have some babies of their own. Not long after the pair was introduced, there was good news. Beebe and Henry were going to be parents. Scientists from the zoo's research team conducted the world's first ultrasound on a Nile hippopotamus. Because hippos have a thick layer of fat to insulate them from their life in the water, nobody was sure if the ultrasound would even work. But a scientist slid under Bibi's huge belly, and sure enough, you could see a spinal cord and even little hippo feet. The zoo staff continued to monitor Bibi throughout the pregnancy, and soon there would be a baby hippopotamus at the Cincinnati Zoo. But sometimes things happen too soon, and Bibi's caregivers noticed that though it was 2 months early, Bibi was acting as though she was going to give birth. She had no appetite, she was swimming continuously and doing barrel rolls, and her body showed signs of labor. They rushed to her area in Hippo Cove where they got a big surprise. Even though Bibi wasn't due to give birth until March, lying there on the ground was the littlest hippo anybody had ever seen. And baby Fiona was born on January 24th, 2017. At only 29 pounds, the baby hippo was about the size of a heavy football. Hippos are normally 3 times that size at birth and very active. In the wild, hippos are born in the water and can climb right up onto their mom's backs. They even nurse underwater. This little hippo had the entire team shocked. Being a preemie, the baby just laid there. She was too weak to stand and certainly couldn't climb. A first-time mother, Bibi looked at the baby with mild curiosity. There was no time to waste. The zoo's care team jumped into action. They picked up the baby and started to warm her with thick blankets, and everyone had lots of questions. What do we feed her? Should we put her back in the water? How do we make her stronger? How would a hippo mom take care of a premature baby in the wild? These are all really great questions. Nobody had ever raised a premature hippo, and if Fiona was going to survive, everybody who would be taking care of her would have to learn everything one day at a time. A team of specialized caregivers was assembled, including the zoo's hippo keepers, a nursery staff of baby animal experts, and an animal health team of veterinarians, veterinarian technicians, and the zoo nutritionist. Hashtag Team Fiona was committed to saving the baby hippo's life, whatever it took. After talking it over, they decided to name the female baby hippo Fiona, after the lovable princess with the wiggly ears from the movie Shrek. The zoo decided to share Fiona's struggles with the world via social media. Everyone soon fell in love with the little hippo, and they rooted for her and sent support and positive vibes her way when she needed them most. Hashtag Team Fiona grew and grew. The team knew that someone had to stay with the baby around the clock, literally holding her to keep her warm. A special area in the hippo barn was set aside for the baby to live in until she began to grow. The building had a heated floor, and the heat in the room was cranked up to 98 degrees to make sure she didn't get chilled. Even her little pool became a hot tub filled with water that was nearly 100 degrees. The first dilemma was getting Fiona to nurse. As is the case with all infant mammals, it would be best for Fiona to drink her mother's milk. But Bibi is huge, over 3,100 pounds, and tiny Fiona couldn't reach her to nurse. The team found the biggest breast pump on the market, but that did not work. So scientists slid under Bibi again, just like they had when they first saw Fiona on an ultrasound, and hand-milked her like a cow. The team was able to get some milk. Fiona was able to drink a little of Bibi's milk, giving her important antibodies from her mom. And the zoo's nutritionist sent milk samples off for analysis to the milk repository at the National Zoo in Washington, D.C. They learned for the first time that hippo milk is much higher in protein and lower in fat than human milk. So every day a special formula was mixed up and heated for Fiona to drink. But it was difficult to keep Fiona interested in feeding, and sometimes she would have a difficult time breathing. You can imagine how much Fiona did not like the oxygen tube or the cannula in her nose. I think it's cannula, actually. The zoo's nursery keepers know that the keys to raising a healthy baby animal are making sure the baby gains weight and stays hydrated. At about 1 month old, Fiona wasn't looking so good. She didn't have much energy, she wasn't eating, and even worse, she wasn't keeping down what little food she did eat. It takes a village to raise a premature hippo, and someone on the zoo staff shared that when her own daughter was sick and needed fluids, her hospital called in a specialized vascular access team to find her tiny veins, and then her daughter recovered. So when the zoo reached out to the Cincinnati Children's Hospital, they sent their special vet nurses over right away to put in a hippo IV. It took a couple of tries because Fiona pulled the first one out, but eventually the IV stayed in for a week and Fiona was finally well hydrated. She started gaining weight and becoming more active. Fiona had turned a corner. She's so darling. Fiona began putting on 2 to 3 pounds a day and graduated 2 more pool sizes as she grew. Once she was a few months old, she began living in the area adjacent to her mother and father so the family could begin bonding. At this stage in her young life, Fiona still spent much of her time with her keepers and other members of #Team Fiona, who would swim with her, play with her to give her some exercise, and feed her bottles of specially prepared formula. It was the only way to keep her healthy. The team was encouraged by Fiona's progress, but at the same time, everyone was worried about the risks involved in reuniting her with Bibi and Henry. After all, the parents weighed over 7,000 pounds combined, and Fiona was still so little. Her caregivers and the zoo's mammal curator worked up a step-by-step plan for Fiona. She began by learning to push off the bottom of the big indoor pool, chaperoned by keepers in case she couldn't navigate the deeper water or get to the surface to breathe. Then Fiona started spending time with Bibi indoors, giving them a chance to get to know each other better without the risk of water. Fiona did amazing things with Bibi, such as exploring her mouth, which made everybody a little nervous. And Bibi was proving to be a great hippo mom. The world celebrated these milestones right along with Fiona's care team. People couldn't get enough of the videos and photos that the zoo shared via social media, and they demanded a daily #FionaFix. The next big hurdle was the outdoor pool, where the water is 9 feet deep. Little Fiona was less than 2 feet tall, and even though hippos spend all day in the water, resting and staying cool, they can't actually swim. They are so dense that they would sink right to the bottom. Instead, they walk along the bottom of rivers and pools and propel their bodies to the water's surface to breathe. An adult hippo can hold its breath for about 5 minutes, but Fiona's lungs were not developed enough to do that. That's some great information about hippos. So at first, Fiona would go out with her keepers, which was as much fun for her as it was for them. Hippos are built for a life in the water, and the keepers soon saw that Fiona was no exception. She loved the pool. Then came the big day everyone had looked forward to with a little sadness. When Fiona was about 4 months old, it was time to let her explore the big pool with Bibi. This would mean the end of daily swimming and contact with her keepers who had raised her since her unexpected beginning. Fiona did great with her mom and had fun in the pool, playing and bouncing around underwater every day. It was clear that her keepers missed her more than she missed them, which was a good thing since she will spend her life with hippos, not people. The grand finale was the family reunion, when Henry, Bibi, and Fiona started spending time in the pool together. Fiona continued to play and be a very active little hippo, and by the time she was 6 months old, she weighed over 400 pounds. Sometimes Fiona settles down in the shallow end of her pool, staying cool while she takes a nap. Everyone at the Cincinnati Zoo agrees that we've learned a lot about Fiona. We feel like we were experts on hippo and ultrasounds, hippo milk, and everything else you need to know to raise a premature baby hippo for the first time. But mostly we learned that love carries the day and makes the impossible possible. Fiona taught us all to never give up.